All right, Rob, welcome to Competencies Without a Classroom. This podcast is consumed by middle school, high school students and their teachers. These are busy individuals, so they don't have time for fluff. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it if that works for you.
Perfect.
Okay. So Rob, what I like to do at the start of each of these interviews is I like to ask the same exact question to every guest. It helps to let us kind of give a running tally, but also generate a nice little report at the end of the season to give our listeners answers to the questions that they want to know. It also helps to set a bit of a tone for the rest of the interview. So with that, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
You're a no guy.
No.
Is that a strong view, strong opinion?
I've always been against it. I like bacon or pepperoni, but no pineapple.
Okay. As long as you're not saying olives, then I'm okay with that, or anchovies. But
I can't do olives.
Yeah. Okay. That works. I think you might be in the minority, but I'm also biased and I just assume everybody loves pineapple on their pizza. So it's okay. Let's help win back some of the listeners for you, Rob. So who is Rob Comeau and what do you do for work?
Who am I? That is a good question. So I'm an entrepreneur and filmmaker. When I was very young, I had a strong passion for film and I wanted to figure out how I can turn it into a business. So there's that entrepreneur and there's the filmmaking part, and I kind of combine them. And now I'm 29 years old. I'm living in Toronto. I run a video production company. I create movies on the side. And so I'm developing my production company as well as my filmmaking portfolio into becoming a bigger director.
Yeah, you have a lot on the go. So obviously you just mentioned you've had this kind of passion or this intersection. You knew there'd be an intersection between the filmmaking and the business from a younger age. Have you ever had like a real job, Rob, or has this kind of always been your thing out of school?
Pretty much. Yeah. I had little jobs, but I couldn't do it. My first job was Tim Hortons. I was there for 3 months and I said, I have to be my own boss.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I did Metro, grocery store, and then I would do summer camps, which was in film as well, which was cool. I was teaching 5-year-olds how to use an iPad and make movies.
Yeah.
So that was something that I really liked, but this has been my, sole day job.
Okay. That's cool. So obviously with the advent of technology, everything from TikTok to, the video editor I use, it's simple, but it's on the browser, right? So it's never been easier to create, right? Devil's advocate, does the world need more filmmakers?
I think so. I think the point of filmmaking is to, share a message, and you want to make an impact on people. And it's a great way to express yourself and to get, it's like, painting on a canvas, except you're shooting for a screen, and there's a lot of people wanting to get into filmmaking, and with video nowadays, it's constantly blowing up. I thought it already blew up, but I think it's just getting started with the way video is being put around.
Yeah, I'm excited to see and everyone has a story to tell, right? There's so many more stories that need to be told and important conversations that are happening right now. So I couldn't agree more with that. And I'm personally excited to see what, I guess, Gen Z, the students in high school that are listening to this are going to be able to do, because they have kind of video editing baked in, whether it's from TikTok or their Instagram video. So they're going to be off to a pretty good start, right?
The technology these guys have today is just amazing. And I didn't have this when I was 14. And I still made content. So that just proves that you can't make excuses today, because you can make content. You can get it done.
Did you ever make a video on VHS, or is this a little bit after that?
No, it was all on mini DV tapes. So I never shot film, but it was all right to digital.
That's cool.
They were on little tapes, and then the SD cards, and everything's getting smaller. Cameras are getting smaller.
Yeah.
But
it's come a long way.
Yeah, it has.
So I'm a high school student listening to this. I love filmmaking. Maybe I can't see myself working for somebody else either. So I want to figure out how to turn that into a business. What could you recommend to a young person listening to this in terms of a post high school pathway for them to explore, to be able to follow a similar path?
Yeah. One thing I learned was, being an artist, you're not just an artist. You have to be an entrepreneur. Even filmmaking is a business. It's not art form. It's also a business. You have to figure out, I could make a great piece, but how is it going to get seen? How am I going to make the investor his money on this film?
Sure.
So when, there's always a way to turn your hobby into a career. And that's what I'm all about, and how you can take what you love and your passion and to figure out how to make a business around it. And with social media today, it's very possible. So I would really have your mindset in the entrepreneur world, keep creating, keep being, very artistic and having creative ideas, and, get your business online.
Yeah. And you hit a couple important parts there. Obviously the art part of it is going to be very important to make good work.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's not a sustainable business model behind it, then it's not going to be a continued success, right?
It will stay a hobby.
It'll stay a hobby. Yeah.
That can be fine if that's what you want. But if you're wanting to get out of the 9 to 5 and have a boss, then, now you can figure out how.
Yeah. And something else you said there is important as well about it being a business. Obviously, COVID has interrupted every industry, every business. Filmmaking is an industry. This part of the podcast, we refer to this as the hog. So this is something we do at My Blueprint in our meetings, where when we try to be more effective in the time that we're spending in these meetings, in our agenda, we'll label each item with a certain amount of time that we're able to speak to it. And we'll label it with something like it's either an update, a discussion, a decision, or in this case, it's the hog. So it's an opportunity for you to speak a little bit more candidly to something that you're passionate about. And I think you can do a really good job in this case talking about how, as an entrepreneur, you recognize that COVID was going to disrupt your business. So can you speak a little bit to kind of what you did to pivot and the mindset you had around that?
Yeah. So at first I had some down days, as everyone did. It was very scary and nerve-wracking, and you weren't really sure of the future. So I had my time to be lazy, to sit on the couch, watch TV. And, for a few weeks I was like that. And then after, there was this like sudden switch where I felt inspired again. And so I started, learning new things. I was learning about how the stock market worked. I was learning a little bit of coding. I was keeping up with my Spanish because I knew that, the film production, the industry was down and I couldn't do much. I created 2 short films throughout COVID on the phone and on the webcam on a laptop. So,
Cool.
I was staying creative.
Right.
And then finally this idea came to me where I then took my knowledge in the film industry and put together a course, and that's what I've been working on. But, the mindset that I've always had, and I would like to thank meditation and positive thinking, was, I don't want to just sit here for 5 months or for the next year because I don't know what's going to happen next. But I do know that I have the ability to create something new and to make change and to adapt to the new normal. And I know that with everything going online, I thought this is a perfect opportunity to not have to worry about anything else except this new business idea that I have, because I know that there's nothing's going to stop me and I have the time to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. And with a strong mindset that I work on daily with meditation and positive thinking, of course I had my down days, I'm human, but ultimately I can get over those down days and feel good and get to work on the thing that I'm passionate about. And I learned a lot about myself doing this.
Yeah. Hold on to the meditation and positive thinking thing, because I want to come back to that. I think that's super important. But something else you said there was also huge. Something I love to preach is, and that's not just COVID. There's a lot of things, a lot of bumps in the road that are going to come across in your life. Focus on what you can control. Rob obviously couldn't focus on the fact that the industries were shutting down and filmmaking was going to change, but he focused on what he could control and he created out of it. So I'm excited to talk more about your course a little bit later as well. Right?
Yeah. That's great. And it was funny. I was talking to a friend the other day and we asked her how she's doing during COVID. And she said, I'd do it again. And I love that because it just shows that like she has that mindset too. And unfortunately the sicknesses and the deaths that occurred, but for me, like this is my favorite year by far.
If you have the opportunity and the ability to turn something out of it, like this podcast, as an example, came because of the opportunities, the spare time I had, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Robert, are you on Instagram?
I am.
Okay. So I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. I still have an account, but I've deleted it off my phone. Main reason is oftentimes, and it's different with everybody, but it can become a bit of a highlight reel. It can be kind of your best of, and find yourself comparing yourself to others. So the reason I bring that up is it's kind of a good segue to ask you to maybe speak authentically about a failure that you've had in your life that you think might be important for young people to hear.
Yeah,
and
totally.
How you overcame that as well would be helpful.
I think it's the human being, it's the fault of the human for anything in life with, it's like social media is like a drug and people complain about Instagram, but it's on them, they can delete it like you did. Like it's really their own thing. So with Instagram, you have to use it properly. And so the way I've been using it was to market my film course and to just engage with filmmakers. And you're right, people post all the good stuff, but they never post the bad stuff. So about a week ago, I posted a rejection letter that I had. I was looking for film funding for my latest short film on mental health called Unmasking, and got a rejection letter saying, we're not going to fund your movie. So I actually posted that on Instagram, and then I posted the film's poster to say that I made it anyway. I don't care about the rejection. I did it. And it's actually hanging on my wall.
That's so cool.
It's on the floor now. And it's just something to look at and to realize like I can keep going and I don't have to let anything stop me.
That's an awesome story. Again, focusing on what you can't control. One person said no, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. Rob, you've obviously hired people before, maybe it's actors on set or people to help out with production. Let's say two people applying for the same role, they have the exact same resume, exact same experience on paper. What's something that you've learned over the years to look for that's going to help separate one from the other? Is there a skill or competency that stands out to you?
Yeah. In my industry, it might be different for another entrepreneur or someone to answer this, but for me in film, it's talent and personality. I find that personality goes a long way. When you have the talent, that's great, but people are going to want to work with you again when they like your energy. And so I work on that myself. But when I'm looking to bring out an actor or to hire a crew member, you know, a cinematographer, a sound person, I would love to see their reel. I want to see their work to see that they're going to be good for my project. And then I want to see how they are. And, you know, most people in the film industry are great people, never really big issues with them. So personality and talent, I think, are really big for me.
So that makes sense. Let's drill a little bit deeper on the personality piece. Is it like likability? Is it just that they're a good person to be around and they're not a jerk? Like, is that essentially?
Yeah. And I'm an energy person. So, you know, I think it's an energy thing too, where it's like, we click, we get along. Yeah. Of course, you know, they can't, you know, there's a time when you can joke on set. There's a time when you can do this, when you can't do that. So all of that I think comes into play with personality, and you want to just get along with people. You want to, you know, collaborate with them in a really good way.
I can imagine that being incredibly important on a film set where you're spending a lot of time together, condensed over a few months kind of thing, right? So I get that. Rob, what's a life skill that you weren't taught in high school, but maybe that you wish that you were?
Taxes. Teach me how to do my taxes.
Yeah, no, that one comes up often.
That's a common one. I think the best lesson, you know, investing too would be cool, you know, learning investments. But at the same time, when I'm 18, I don't care about taxes or investing. My mindset's not there. It's to party and meet girls and to figure out who I am, you know? So now I can be like, yeah, I wish I learned that, but I don't have any regrets in life. And I think the best lesson is experience. And you can't really teach experience, can you? You have to actually get out and do it.
Yeah, no, it's easy to say hindsight is 2020. I'm sure people did tell me that, you know, I should start investing at 18 or whatever, but I probably wouldn't have listened then. And looking back now, obviously I wish I did, especially when you learn about compound interest, but it's just, you're right.
It's like $50 a month that I put away. That could be going towards a 2-4.
Yeah. Students, if you're gonna do anything after this episode, Google compound interest and start putting a little bit of money away, because it really adds up.
Yes.
Okay, Rob, this section, this is this feature, we're going to call it Strong Opinions Loosely Held. So this is generally something, it's an opinion you have that you believe in strongly, but you're open-minded enough, you think critically, that if you were presented with new information, you know, you're open to rediscovering if you still have the same belief. So for mine, as an example, I believe that grades and tests, they do more harm than they do good. Do you have something like that?
I do, and maybe you'll have to let me know if it's what you're looking for. But I always say, this is like a motto of mine, that art is opinion and not fact.
Oh, okay.
And what I mean by that is, if 100 people are looking at a painting, there's no right or wrong. There's no 100%. You're going to have 90% like it, 10% hate it. And I think it's the artist's job to have the majority like it, you know, like look at Justin Bieber. There's so many people that love him, so many people that hate him, but I think he does a good job because the majority might like his music, right? And there's no way to say that a movie or a painting or a song is bad, because what I think, you're going to think differently, and vice versa. Yeah. So it's all perspective, really.
That's a really important point. So as someone who is an artist, let's say you put out a movie, how do you define success? Because you're right, the two people watch it are going to have completely different opinions on that movie. How do you define that?
The benefit of making a film is I do a screen test after. So I have at least 100 people 100 people or so watched Unmasking, and I got them all to give me notes. So before I released it, I could actually see what was working and what wasn't. Right. And the majority of the notes were all positive feedback. So not only did I get good feedback on what I should be changing in the film, but I got an idea of how many people liked it. And then I was getting messages on social media and emails of people saying, you know, how it's made an impact on their life. So I get that data there that I know, okay, something's working. This is inspiring me to work on another movie.
Yeah. Unmasking is a pretty powerful film. Is there a way for students to watch that? Like how would, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If they want to message me on Instagram or just check out my personal website that I can give to you if you want to put it up somewhere.
We're going to put it in the show notes for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Rob, let's do some rapid fire questions. Right?
Sure.
You have a billboard. It's in Times Square. Everyone's going to see it. What does it say?
Don't make excuses.
Okay. So it comes back to focus on what you can control and
Yep.
that mindset piece, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Intelligent quotient, so IQ, or emotional quotient, EQ. You can only pick one. Which one is it?
I was gonna say I like to become better at to have. I would say IQ because I didn't know what EQ was, so I need a higher IQ to know EQ.
Okay, that works out. Yeah. Did you have a favorite class, favorite subject in high school?
I did. I loved video production. I think I was actually helping the teacher with the class teaching it because I was so involved in video. He was asking me questions to help other students, and that made me feel inspired too.
Do you remember like what your first interaction with a video camera was? Like obviously it started from a younger age for you, but was there a moment that triggered it, or was it just like it was something that was innate when you were born, you think?
Yeah, it was in my blood. I mean, at 14, I started skateboarding and I was filming skateboard videos. So right there was like the first camera in my hand. And from there, I started creating stories.
It's a cool intersection of passions, though. That could be another way for students to explore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite teacher growing up? A favorite teacher?
Yeah, I have a few. And there's one that I always remember. And I think because he taught so well. And it was a class that I didn't like. I didn't care for history, but he was my history teacher. But I remember him and I have a lot of memories. So I think he made an impact.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Normally I ask people if there was a favorite book they had read before 18, and you can answer that one as well. But since I'm talking to you, is there a favorite film, movie, documentary that you wish you would have watched before you're 18 that had a big impact on you?
There's a lot of films today. Like I love films today rather than back in the day. Like I haven't seen a lot of classics. I haven't seen a lot of films before 2010. Like I just love today's content. And, you know, Whiplash being one of my favorite films. If I had seen that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, again, perspectives change all the time. I don't know how I would have reacted to it, but that would have been really cool to witness back then. Yeah.
You're a reader. Do you have a book for that same question?
I love any books on mindset, mindfulness, Think and Grow Rich, anything by Napoleon Hill, I guess. And I don't know a lot of the titles. I just know I've read a lot on mindset, mindfulness, and some in filmmaking too.
Have you read the book called Mindset? It's Carol Dweck.
I don't think so.
It's a great intro for students listening to this one. It basically just talks about the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset.
Okay.
Fixed being like, you don't think you can control anything. Life just comes to you as it is. Or growth, like you talked about with your scenario before, COVID hit and you focus on what you could control. So it's just easy to figure out that you have power over your decisions and you can make happen what you want to make happen. So
cool. Sort of like life happens for you rather than to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. So Rob, do me a favor, repeat and finish this sentence for me. So if I was 18 again, I would
do the exact same thing probably.
Yeah. I mean, you said it before, you don't have any regrets, right? It's a good way to live life.
Yeah.
Okay. So hypothetical question to close things out. You're superintendent of a school board and you've been tasked with deciding which one competency, soft skill, transferable skill that you need students to display evidence of in their digital portfolio in order to graduate. What is that skill?
So in my industry, I really feel like problem solving is something that happens and that we need to know because on set problems happen. And throughout the whole process of creating a film, you're thrown, like there's hurdles thrown at you and roadblocks. So speed bumps. So I think, you know, figuring out how you can get around them and get creative and with problem solving, that really helps.
It's one of my favorite ones and it kind of ties into it, but I love to talk about resourcefulness. You're not always going to have all the answers or all the money or all the resources. So figuring out creative ways to solve that problem is going to get you pretty far in life.
Yeah,
right?
So true.
Yeah. Okay. Any last parting words of wisdom for the future change makers of the world listening to this?
No, I mean, change makers are incredible people. We need them. We need, like you said earlier, it would be awesome to have more and more filmmakers telling more stories. There's so many movies out there I haven't seen and I can't wait to see them because there's something that's going to change you. There's something that's going to have an impact on you. And whether it's making a movie or starting a new business outside of film industry, you know, thank you. We need those people. And I think COVID has made I think there's going to be a lot of greatness that's come from COVID. A lot of great new startups have probably already have begun and we're going to be seeing them now moving forward.
Yeah. Now's the time to shoot your shot, you know, take that chance. Right.
Yeah.
So Rob, where can people listening to this learn more about you? Obviously we'll include some links in the show notes, but what do you want them to check out?
Yeah, they can check out my website, robcomeaufilm.com. They can check out my Instagram, my Facebook, which is Rob Comeau. Instagram is Rob Comeau Film. And that's mostly where I am. I'm on YouTube as well. I have a YouTube channel on my filmmaking course where I teach filmmaking and, get students going on with that.
Okay, we gotta plug the course a little bit. Tell us about this course that you're working on.
So during COVID, I had a lot of time to sit down and think about things. And one of the most important things that happened out of it was, I can now take my knowledge and take my experience in film and put it into a course and go online with it and reach an audience around the world.
Yeah.
And so my course is going to help filmmakers who are just starting out. I teach you how to take your idea to execution step by step. There's about 38 lessons with bonus content, and you're going to know how to take your idea to screen after you've watched it.
That's huge. That's everything. Okay. So guys, check out the links, learn about Rob's course, learn about Rob's work, the amazing work he's already done and will be creating. Check out Unmasking. That's one you're definitely going to want to watch. Rob, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today and inspiring the students that are listening to this. Have a good one, man.